Hello everyone, today I'm going to solo Stratholme on a level 80 Retribution Paladin. One trinket that is so useful for this farm is this one, and you can collect it in a Stratholme on a heroic mode from the second boss. On top of this, having engineering will also have a huge impact on the gold that you can make. The add-on that you see to the right is called Kiwi Farm. This will indicate the amount of raw gold we can expect to make every single hour, but also what I've looted so far. And all the items that I find is set to being rendered, so it's going to be without using the auction house. When I do the first pull, then I always use a swiftness potion so I can pull these a lot easier, also because it's going to be a lot of monsters that I need to stack together. One spell I like to use quite often when I do this is Hand of Reckoning. This is a ranged taunt ability and it'll allow you to range pull these a lot easier. Another spell that is quite useful right here is my Divine Shield. When I'm bubbled, I'm immune to all attacks but also daze effects, so I can pull these without getting slowed all the time. What you might also notice is that I hide behind the wall. Some of these enemies will be casters, so when I hide behind this wall, well then I also line of sight them, allowing me to stack them together and do a lot of AoE damage to all the targets. Remember to also use your Holy Rev, as this will deal a high amount of damage but also stun them. For those of you curious about my talent tree and the glyphs that I use, then I will show these at the end of the video, where I also show the total gold that I made. Like I mentioned earlier, if you have engineering, you can also increase the gold that you make. You can for example use your night tributes right here to skip these gates. Without night tributes, you will walk in there and the gates will close and you will have to deal with some ads before they once again open. I guess some of you are also curious about if you can do this farm as any other class. And yes, this is definitely possible as a Blood Death Knight, as a Protection Warrior, a Feral Tank, but most likely also as a rogue where you spam your Fan of Knife ability. Some of you have also requested a map where I show the different locations where I usually stop and take down the creatures. This is such a good suggestion, which is why I've also included it in the video. I'm going to add in some music, and at the end of the video you can also see a few ways to easily render your items, but also how you can reset the dungeon and get out of the dungeon in next to no time. Anyway, enjoy the farm. Right here, I highly suggest you to kill these creatures at this location. Once you have taken down the final one, a boss will also spawn. And if you're not close to this boss, he will run out of the room and the doors will close. Then you will have to wait a couple of minutes before the doors will once again open. And you will need these to open to take down the final boss in the dungeon. What you might also notice is right now I'm about to teleport out of the dungeon. That's because I use a macro to invite myself and instantly leave the party. When you use this macro, you will be teleported to the nearest graveyard after 1 minute. And this graveyard is pretty close to where you enter the dungeon, so you'll save a lot of time by using this macro. You can find it in the description below this video. So now you might be curious, what do I do to render the different things? Well, first of all, if you're an engineer, you can use a repair bot, and at this you can render and repair your gear. If you're not an engineer, then don't worry. Nearby the dungeon, there's also going to be a location where you can render. All you need to do is just to complete a quest at this location. It usually takes around 1 to 2 minutes to do this. When I do these runs, I usually make anywhere between 115 and 135 gold every single run. This is also more than 500 gold every single hour. And remember, if you use the macro and you optimize this, you can also teleport out of the dungeon a couple of seconds after you have killed the boss. So for my talent and glyph tree, I've spent points into Divine Guardian and Divine Sacrifice. You don't need to do this if you like to just farm gold. The reason why I've done it is because I also like to use this specialization whenever I do battlegrounds. I've also spent points into improving my Righteous Fury, so when this is active, I also reduce the damage that I take by 6%. Like I mentioned, then you can spend the 3 points from Divine Guardian and Divine Sacrifice into something else. For example, to increase your haste, or maybe even improving your Blessing of Might. But what about the glyphs that I use? I use Seal of Command to increase the mana that I gain, and as a minor glyph, I use Sense Undead to increase the damage that I do by 1%. To increase my survivability, I also like to use the Glyph of Divine Storm to increase the healing that I do, and the minor glyph to reduce the cooldown on my Lay on Hands. The most important glyph for this farm is going to be Glyph of Holy Wrath. It reduces the cooldown so much that you will most likely be able to use it twice in a combat, allowing you to kill the targets even faster. If you would like to see more Wrath of the Lich King gold making videos, then remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time I post a new gold making video. But as always, thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Peace!